Hello and welcome to DarkMouse's Daily Scroll, with me, DarkMouse. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to jump straight into a ranked, or try and get a ranked match. Hopefully get a ranked match. I haven't played one of those for far too long, so let's go take a look in the store, see what there is, see if they've changed that deal. Ah, nice, we have a match. A quick match. Okay, fair enough, a quick match. Not too bad. Doesn't seem to be many ranked matches going on lately. And I'm up against someone called Nyathiel? Nyathiel? An energy player. An energy player either way. So, they're opening up with a useless contraption. What are we going to open up with? Probably the same, actually. Just making sure they're okay with recording this, basically. So, well, yes, okay, cool. So, let's start out. Let's get rid of Spark, because it's not actually that much use. Concentrate Fire, because Spark is cheaper, of course. Put down a useless contraption. Alright, cool. So at the moment, there's just two useless contraptions facing each other down uselessly. Not doing that much at all. So last time we saw a pretty crushing defeat at the hands of, I think it was an order player. It was only yesterday as well. Oh dear. Now, okay, this is pretty standard for energy. You find that it takes a few turns for anybody to be able to play anything really useful, like any creatures or anything. It's mainly just structures, and cheap structures of that, so they don't do a lot. So, let's see. I've got a fair few options I can use here. Metal hearts are useful, but I think two in my hand is not. I can't play any either, so roll on to the next turn. So generally against the energy v energy, like I was saying yesterday, you tend to find that, well, this basically, you tend to find this particular habit. Oh, catapult of goo. Now that is useful. It's a good area denial, so it's like a hard point thing where it's when you hover over it, it'll show up a few grey squares on your side, and that's basically what it hits when it launches its projectile, let's say. So that denies me that middle area, basically, which is fine, because at the moment there's nothing really there to threaten me. Now there is, which is going to be a bit tricky, and they have a plating on it as well. That was smart. Because that means I can't burn it, because burn deals damage, and plating ignores the first amount of damage you do. That's going to be interesting. Okie dokie. So let's get rid of the metal heart, because it's not any use to me right now. Burning that particular guy is not going to be much help to me. So it's, yeah, as you can see, deals 3 damage. So instead, let's put down the ether pump. And let's put it down. Let's be really weird. Let's, yeah, see, grey area there? Shows you where it'll hit. Alright, let's put it up the top there, because why the hell not? So, that catapult of goo is going to go off and hit precisely nothing at this point. So, what are they going to do? They're going to surrender. Okay. I'm not entirely sure what to say about that. Generally, surrendering your opponent gets less gold, which, like, I think it is, which is brilliant, to say the very least. That, okay, that was kind of strange. Maybe they just had to go at that precise moment. Fair enough. Yeah, another quick match. Okay. Well, okay, that was, I'm not entirely sure what to say to that. So we have Trill War. And if I get put against another energy player now, I'm going to be quite amused. Oh dear. Yeah, I don't really see the point of people starting a game if they're not sure if they can finish it. I always try and make sure I have enough time set over to be able to play a decent length game, which is usually about half an hour, or if it might be longer, then half an hour up to an hour really. Which isn't bad, for a decent game of Scrolls. So let's see what this guy does. So I've sacked Cannon Automaton because it's 6 resources away and keeping it in my hand seems silly. Ooh, a growth player. Interestingly enough, a growth player without an abundance of 1 growth things. That's interesting. Generally there's a ton of 1 growth animals in creatures, in a growth deck, because they are like the quick starting cheap creatures, relatively weak creatures, but a lot of growth buffs up their attack and their health permanently for that game, which is kind of the opposite of energy, whereby we just tend to we can give buffs to our attack, or we can swap the attack and the defense over, but quite often that's not permanent. So swapping the attack and the defense over, that's using a card called Redesign, which you can use on your opponent's stuff as well as your own. I've used it before, I think once. I managed to swap over the toughness and attack power of a structure. Obviously structures have an attack power of 0. So swapping that to toughness kills them, which is quite nice. Alright, let's get rid of Bombard and put down a Charge Coil, just to protect my Automated Forge a bit, because knowing my luck, this guy, now able to get his 4th resource, will probably play something that just goes, no, dead now, which would not be ideal. Okay, so that wolf is nibbling away at me, which is kind of unfortunate, but hell, this guy's on 4 resources and still sitting on it, so I'm not entirely sure what his game is there, but we'll see. In the meantime, I'm just going to knock down the Automated Forge. I'm not going to cast anything, because I might need it next go round. And now I have an Automated Forge, the Metal Heart makes it worth it. I probably should have gotten rid of the Incendiaries though, for more resources, because growth players historically don't have a lot of structures. There's a lot of junkyards and stuff, but structures, not really, tend to be a lot of them there, which is a little annoying, but hell, just means you sack stuff for more cards, which I did there, so Incendiaries went bye-bye. Okay. That Kinsfolk guy is a bit of a problem. A lot of things in growth have haste, so they are very good at getting out cheap creatures which will just attack straight away. Obviously the Kinfolk Veteran isn't cheap, he's only 5 resources, but he hits as soon as he arrives. So with a countdown of only 2, it's not too bad. Ah, here we are. Prox Charges. Every growth player loves Prox Charges. Actually, no, they really don't. There's not a lot of stuff in growth that that attacks at range. Not a lot of things in growth attack at range, which can be a little bit annoying for them, especially when you consider that if an energy player has Prox mines down, that will usually deal enough damage to kill off anything that's got haste or most things that are attacking. Growth doesn't have a lot of really strong, really tough creatures. I mean, the Kinsfolk guy that's up there has a toughness of 4, which is nice. It's pretty standard for a 5 resource card. The Cannon Automaton has the same. It's a toughness of 4 as well. That doesn't particularly mean anything though. So, because the Cannon Automaton basically has a toughness of 5, because you have to deal 5 damage to it to kill it off straight away. Oh yeah, I'm nicely protected now. And just for good measure, let's Ember Bond the Kinsfolk guy. So far there's been a little bit of scratching, a little bit of nibbling done, but other than that, nothing too bad. And no surrender yet either, which is always a plus. So Trill Wall. Ow! That's another thing about growth. They've got a lot of cheap cards which do just that. Ow. See what I mean about being able to buff their own stuff? That's kind of painful. Oh dear. Okay, so I've got a Violent Dispersal and an Ether Pump now. I can play either one of them down. And I choose to get rid of the Kinfolk. Okay, I don't think I was in a particularly brilliant frame of mind at this point. Again, this is all post-production audio, so It's a case of I'm looking back on what I did and thinking, why did I do it? What possessed me to do that? Because there's another violent dispersal. I could have just left the Kinfolk the Kinfolk veteran to attack next round and kill himself, and then I would have had one violent dispersal left over, and I would have had an ether pump out already. Now that ether pump would have been counting down so far at the very end, whereby eventually it would be able to do 1 damage to everything, which would be really useful. Unfortunately, I kind of wasted a violent dispersal. That's a bit of the problem well, it's not a problem with scrolls, it's a problem with me. That's kind of my problem, is I'm quite hasty with playing a lot of these cards. I kind of think, oh god, what do I do? He's got big scary stuff. Now at this point I'm thinking, right, don't use the Thunder Surge, that's good. Because the best thing to wait for with that is for a nice critical mass of your opponent's creatures, whereby they've got 5-6 creatures, all low health, or you can do significant damage to them that you can pick them off with sparks and burns and stuff later. And Thunder Surge is brilliant, particularly if you can get up to 9 resources and tag that with Incendiary, so they have a lot of structures as well. Because usually the two together are enough to kill off more structures and units. Ow, okay. Well, this time around I know a burn is probably a good idea here. I'm just like assessing my options here as well. It's kind of like, right, burning that guy because he's too powerful to be allowed out, and paying 3 energy to pop that down to countdown 1. This is going to turn out very interestingly, because I'm quite behind on idle damage, but ahead on units on the board. Now in saying that, he's got 6 resources and is in a good position generally. He's got a lot more scrolls in his hand than I do. There's a Sister of the Fox going down. Which is going to be... the Sister of the Fox is going to stop me being able to blow up that last idol, I think. Is it? Oh no, not if I do some sweet moving. Alright, so Incendiaries is really kind of not needed at this point. So if I just get rid of that, here we go, got rid of that. I have 8 resources, this is good. I should probably have sacked that for cards though, thinking about it. Thunder Surge these guys, and I'd have to get rid of 2 guys. I'm not in a brilliant position right now, so I need to be able to defend myself, because now I'm on the wrong side of the board to really do that. And that's an idol to me. Cool. And I have another gun automaton. That's now 1 for 1 in the way of idols. So this is going to be fun to survive. I wonder what they've got on the Great Wolves. Those are really annoying. Ilthorn Seed. Okay, so he's expecting me to be able to kill that guy. And I could, if I had more violent dispersals. But I don't, so I can't. So now it's just a case of moving my guys around until I can do some damage. I've got quite a few gun automaton down, and my automator forge is relatively untouched. In fact, it is untouched. And I think Trill War's going to try and, rightly so, focus on the top idols, because at the moment he's got the upper hand there, whereas I'm slowly rolling up his bottom flank. Ow. I have a feeling that, yeah, that's one very dead or cannon automaton. Ow, that was kind of painful, to say the very least. So now I'm just shuffling my gun automatons around, because a full row of 3 is not bad. Basically means that now I will get 6 damage on any idol that gets around me, and I can knock that down to 0. So my gun automatons are really quite rolling. Don't know where my other automator forges are. They have decided not to show their face, which is kind of annoying. But hell, I've got 5 gun automatons. I'm not particularly worried right now. And they've nearly lost 2 idols. All I need to do now is be able to just keep the swapping and rolling going. I'm never usually one for moving my units too much. I think this match is the most I've ever moved my gun automatons. And that's saying quite a lot as another Mangy Wolf, which means all the other wolves... Ow, that guy does 7 damage. That, I believe, is my second idol. Oh, no. Okay. Not my second idol dead. That's interesting. Now, I think this all comes down to, does he have another Mangy Wolf? He's got 2 of them on the field, and I don't think I've killed any of them off yet. That last idol's dead. There's nothing stopping me from killing that at this point. Now, can I burn anything useful? I can burn a Mangy Wolf, or I can burn his Ragged Wolf. Probably best to burn the Mangy Wolf. If I burn that one, then that gets me a spark, which I can then use to kill off his Ragged Wolf. Brilliant. Boom. Which means that Great Wolf still does enough damage to kill an idol, any of those 2 idols off. I'm in a very precarious position here. I have to now really hope that he doesn't have a Mangy Wolf in his hand. Because if he does, I'm a little bit screwed. That's an interesting player. As it stands, that guy at the top can't do enough to... Oh, okay, there's another Mangy Wolf. Ow. This is gonna be GG, I think. Yeah. This is GG, because there's the star card. And there is the dead idols. And that was me. That was a good game, though. That was a really good game. That he left very quickly. Fair enough. That's probably enough to get me enough gold for a new scroll. Yes, it is indeed. Brilliant. So, I'll buy another scroll, and then I think that's all we have time for today, folks. So, as always, I hope you enjoyed. Like, favourite, and subscribe to support the series. And I'll catch you next time.